And I think other initiatives involve the creation of tax credits as jobs are created as well.
Tax credits is a very controversial issue amongst those of us that try to embrace fiscal responsibility. Tax credits have gotten a lot of attention on a national level. The Bush administration had a lot of tax credits that were put in, and the Obama administration is discussing let some of those expire. We have many tax credits that the General Assembly has created. What is important to understand that while tax credits may be an incentive to create new business, tax credits are taking money out of your general fund or the fund that we use to operate. Tax credits means that somebody is not paying taxes, that in essence we have given that company a reprieve from paying taxes in order to induce them to do something positive in Virginia. The former chairman of the Senate Finance Committee, my dear friend and one of the great leaders in Virginia, John Chichester, always spoke out against tax credits. It wasn't that he was not a business-friendly legislator. It was not that he was trying to have a chilling effect on it. But if you look at the extraordinary list of tax credits that we have created over the years in Virginia, it literally gets into the billions of dollars on an annual basis where we have extended tax credits. And what happens, Woody, is it doesn't happen in one legislative session. It's what I refer to as incremental creep. You do one or two in 2006, one or two in 2007, one or two in 2008, and on and on and on. And it doesn't look so significant in that 1 year where you're doing it. It seems like a great idea that year. But if you aggregate it and run the total on it, all of a sudden you go, wow, how did that number get so incredibly big?
Let's talk a little bit about public safety, which is, excuse me, obviously of paramount concern to the citizens of Virginia.
Public safety, another area where I've been an advocate. My good friend now, the sheriff of Virginia Beach, Ken Stolley, was the public safety man in the Senate of Virginia. With his ascendancy to the Lord High Sheriff in Virginia Beach, some of us have had to step in and try to fill that vacuum. Senator Janet Howell is the head of the Public Safety Subcommittee on Finance. I'm working with her to try to make sure that public safety is treated fairly during this budgetary process. There's a number of pieces of legislation that are moving through. It is a very significant issue in the budgetary concerns. There are proposals on the budget that would result in cutting additional state police numbers. There are proposals in, I think, Governor Kane's presented budget that would delay the next 2 schools of Virginia state troopers. What that means is that we would not have new troopers on the road as soon as we would hope, and there are always troopers that are retiring. There are significant cuts that were proposed to the Virginia sheriffs. Yesterday, we passed out a bill in the Senate of Virginia after some deliberation and a fairly close vote that would impose new court fees to try to insulate the sheriffs against a $160 million cut on top of what they already have. There are some very significant public safety issues out there, but we're going to have to balance those concerns against public education, higher education, mental health reform, health and human resource programs that are the safety net for many of Virginians that can't help themselves. It is a very, very difficult and painful atmosphere up here. But all 140 legislators are going to earn that exorbitant salary we get paid this year by making hard decisions. And I can tell you it's going to be like a divorce attorney. A divorce attorney knows that he is never going to come out of a case where both people are happy. And generally, when both people are unhappy, you've probably done as well as you can.
A little less than 2 minutes remaining. I promise you an opportunity to let your constituents know how to contact you, but I also wanted you to comment on the importance of the census and what will happen next year as a result of the census.
Well, I don't know I can cram all that in 2 minutes no matter how fast I talk. But having said that, the first thing I want to do is I want to congratulate the Daily Press newspaper for recognizing the Gloucester 40 citizens who were participating in the recall petition as their Citizens of the Year. They did an incredibly courageous thing over there in Gloucester, and they deserve a lot of applause, and so I compliment the Daily Press for recognizing them. Secondly, on the census, we're going to start the census this year. The census is very important because those numbers drive the redistricting process that will take place in 2011. Redistricting is always a contentious situation because it has a little bit of a partisan overtone. That's okay. The United States Supreme Court has said that partisanship is a consideration in redistricting. Also, the census numbers can drive certain levels of funding that come from the federal government. There's a lot of interest focusing around the census about who's going to be counted. Are we going to count felons that are locked up in the Department of Corrections? So that's going to be an ongoing discussion, but very important.
Thank you very much. We appreciate your public service and your hard work.
Thank you, Woody. It's nice to be with you.
I'm Woody Evans for Cable Reports and Cox Communications.
Thank you.